Hi there, Johnny here from johnnylipsonstudios.co.uk and welcome back to the PreSonus Symphonic Orchestra series, and this is episode number 5. And in today's episode we are looking at the percussion section of the orchestra. Percussion basically means anything that you can hit, shake, or wave something about and it makes a sound. Basically, percussion is a very physical thing. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. So things like timpani, snare drums, vibraphones, xylophones, marimba, castanets, tambourines, gongs, tam-tams, zithers, pianos, and then a plethora of other things, tubular bells, and then a whole range of sound effects all come under the remit of the percussion department. So we're going to look at what the PreSonus Symphonic Orchestra add-on has to offer in this particular area. So this is going to be pretty cool. So this episode may be a little bit longer than the other ones, just because there's actually quite a lot involved here with different instruments. So we're going to start with my personal favorite instrument in the orchestra, and that's timpani. Timpani is a lot of fun to play, albeit in most modern orchestral works you don't actually get to play very often in a piece. You will be counting lots of bars of rest, because timpani tend to still be, as they have been since they were brought in at the end of the Baroque period and into the early classical period. They were colour instruments. They were there to provide colour and basically different timbre that you didn't have. So they were used sparingly, and I would say some of Mozart and Beethoven's symphonies are probably the best examples of that use of timpani. Very busy timpani works would be things like Holster Planets, particularly the first movement, which is Mars. You have 2 timpani players, each playing 6 drums. So you have 12 timpani drums on the stage, and it's very busy and very demanding. So anyway, enough talking, and let's get playing. So let's hit some drums. So in the timpani section here, we have 2 sections. This section here, this is basically individual strokes on the drums, and it shows the full range of timpani drums, and this is actually correct. It has a range of an octave and a third, and so this would be the correct register of the instrument. And then up here you have the same range, but this time these are all rolls, which is fantastic, because it means that if you want to do a timpani roll, you only have to press one key and hold it. You don't have to, do the roll yourself by jabbing the key repeatedly with 2 fingers, effectively mimicking a roll. So let me show you how this works. So here are the individual notes. And as you can hear, you do get them at different velocities as well, so you can really hit them hard. Excuse the key clicks in the background. Or you can hit them really softly and get a different sample. And the same with the rolls, actually. The rolls are fantastic. Or nice and soft. And you get all the little subtle variations that you would get from a real player actually playing that roll. Little changes in velocity. So that's fantastic. So what they've done is they've actually sampled somebody playing a roll, and then they've found the exact points where they can actually loop it and turn it into a consistent sound. And it's really, really very clever. But one thing you do notice that is a slight drawback is all they've done is they've taken one roll and then they've mapped it across a range of the instrument. They've kept it realistic, but they've just recorded one roll. The problem that you get with that is this. I shall show you. So this is the lowest note here. Sounds really dark and forbidding. But listen to how slowly that roll is played. So you can really hear every individual stroke very clearly. Now if I do the one an octave above that, now the roll is played a lot faster. Now it's played very, very fast. That's a little bit slower. That's really, really good technique right there. The thing is that most timpani players, when they're playing on a slower drum, a lower pitch drum, you do play your roll a little bit slower because you've got to allow the head time to respond to you striking it, and so you do play the roll a little bit more slowly than you would on a tighter, higher pitched drum, where you can afford to play a little bit faster, but the difference really isn't that massive. So that's one small little issue I have with the timpani there, but that's not to say that these are not usable. The timpani drums are fantastically usable. Go make use of them. They sound gorgeous. So that's timpani. Let's move on to my next most personal favorite, which would be the orchestral snare. Now this is really, really cool. I like the orchestral snare a lot because basically anything in this area is going to be an individual strike. Hang on. Here we go. So those are individual notes. But as you can hear, each one has a slight variance. So I think what they've done is they've made recordings of a left-hand strike and then a right-hand strike, which is really, really useful for doing things like flams. Or doing roughs. And flam taps and so on. But you also get rolls as well at the top, and they're very, very cool. So that one there is a beautiful crescendoed roll. This one's a very slow crescendo. Now the cool thing about this one is the other ones, the roll is a little bit more open. That one starts open and then it gets closed more and more till it's, kind of almost choked a little bit. And that's kind of on the edge of the drum, but still quite loud. Quite dry sounding. That's a bit more full sounding. That sounds to me a little bit more like a triple stroke roll, played more towards the center, towards the edge, towards the center. That one's a bit more pressed, a bit more crushed, closed roll, a bit more open. And then that one's diminuendo. And there's another one. Another one. So they've mapped different parts of the drum here. So you've got the edge. And that's a bit more in the center of the drum. So you got left hand, right hand, towards a bit more out, left hand, right hand, and then edge, left hand, right hand. So that's pretty cool, the way they've mapped that out, and you've got a whole variety of different rolls you can do there that are going to be tremendously useful for whatever you're doing. And the fact that you've got separate hands sampled, so a left hand, a right hand, or it could be a right hand, left hand, and then you've got different kinds of rolls. You've got open rolls, you've got closed, pressed rolls, and then you've got different dynamic changes of rolls as well. That is just fantastic. So lots of really, really usable and useful samples there. Let's move on. We've got the bass drum. which is the Gran Cassa in Italian. Let's take a look at this one. Wow. Oh, is this a roll here? Oh, it is. Oh. Nice, crescendo roll. Oh, it comes off a little bit sudden for me, though. Bit more gradual, this one. That's just loud and in your face, that roll. As is that one. Listen to all those overtones. Nice. That's just... I might have to turn that down in post a little bit because it's pretty loud. But that's the bass drum. So that's really, again, fantastically usable. Beautifully recorded samples. So that's your timpani and drums. And then over here we have percussion sets. So this is like multiple different percussion items. So here you have a snare drum, triangle, gong, and a bass drum. So let's have a look at the mapping here. Now there's your gong right there. That's in the middle of the gong. On the edge. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. That's kind of like played with a brush or something around the edge of the gong. Nice. And these are short ones. There's your bass drum again. A little triangle roll. Open triangle. Muted. See, I would like a fully choked triangle mute here, as well as this kind of semi... I'd like a really tight choked one as well. That would have been nice. Okay, so that's percussion set 1. Let's have a look at percussion set 2. And what do we have here? We have use key switches to select the instrument. So we have... Oh, okay. So we've got wind chimes. And this is the playing area up here. So this is all kind of all stuff you can kind of shake. There's your classic wind chime. Okay, and then this one is temple blocks. Very nice. Another set of temple blocks. Very nice. Lots of reverb there as well. That's temple blocks, temple blocks, temple blocks, and oh, lots of temple blocks here. Oh, Japanese bowl. Let's try this one. Very, very, very nice indeed. Okay, and claves. Of different sizes. And then cowbell, you can't have enough cowbell. So these are kind of tuned cowbells. Oh, these are all tuned. There you go, blues on the cowbells. Bet you thought you'd never hear that. And then crotales. Now you often hear this particular sound used in Foley sound effects for films, like if you hear a small carriage clock on a mantelpiece or something, and it's kind of like ringing out its quarter past the hour chimes. That's the kind of sound that they use. So that's all very, very cool. So those are your percussion sets. And then we've got orchestral effects there as well. So these will be different. Oh, hang on a minute. What's going on here? Let's close that, shall we? We've got some missing files by the look of it. Alright, let's try some of these orchestral effects out. I was not planning to do this. Yeah, pardon me. Okay, what about these ones? Various animal effects on a trumpet. Okay. Some of these are weird. Okay, what else we got? Oh, flute effects. Okay. And string effects. Yep, pardon me again. Oh, now that's good. That just sounds like a flock of gulls. Bending harmonics on, or sliding, I should say, harmonics on a violin. Nice. Okay. And that's, I think, supposed to be a horse whinnying. That sounds like me when I first started playing upright bass with a bow. Alright, so some of those are interesting and amusing. Harp effects. Well, it's basically putting a piece of paper between the strings on a harp. That'd be using a drumstick to glissando the harp. Very aggressive. Hitting the harp with the drumstick. So we've got a separate set of flute effects. Cool. Cello effects. Cool. Okay, and brass effects. I was actually going to do this in the final episode, so I've kind of overstepped my remit here a little bit, but I didn't realize that this was in the percussion section. And that's kind of on a bassoon, I think, played sort of like ultra high squeaky register. Except this is brass, so that probably isn't. What that might be a trombone. I know you get a similar sound on the saxophone. Okay, so moving away from those, let's go back to something a bit more conventional, like a vibraphone. Okay, let's take a look. So we are on the normal key switch for vibraphone. Let's have a little play. Nice, lovely, actually. Very nice. And actually, the way they've got the electric vibrato bar, basically, you have a resonator tube underneath each metal bar, and at the top of that, there's like a little spinning, tiny little spinning plate that's connected to a motor, and you can change the speed of it, and that creates the distinct sort of vibrato effect. And you can normally, on a vibraphone, change the speed of that. I'm not sure you can do that here. Let me see. So that's kind of without the that's without the dampening bar engaged. And then glissandos. Find the playing area. Slow one. That's with no vibrato. Fast vibrato setting. Down glissando. Nice. So they've really worked hard with some of these percussion samples. Marimba. Marimba's nice. It's kind of like a xylophone, but it's lower in register. Very, very nice. However, I do believe you can have, excuse me, you can have like a tremolo of, like when you do a roll, same as you would do a roll on a timpani. Except you would never be able to do that unless you've got seriously good finger control on the sticks. So you've got individual strokes, and then you've got rolls. Very nice samples as well, actually. And we're going to finish up. I might have to do this in 2 parts, you know. So I might have to do another part dealing with other hand percussion and cymbals and gongs and stuff next time. So this is going to be percussion part 1, and then I'll do percussion part 2 next time. So we'll finish up this episode with some xylophone. Let's see what we've got here. Very nice. Very nice and very tastefully done samples. And so what we'll look at is next time we will look at some of these hand percussion instruments, castanets, claves, tambourine, temple blocks. We heard a little bit of those. And we'll look at the cymbal set, the different gongs and cymbals. And then we'll look at chimes and bells, which we heard at least a little bit of, but we haven't heard things like shell chimes and glockenspiel and tubular bells. So we'll come on to all of these. Oh, and the bamboo chimes. They're lovely, by the way. So look forward to those next time. So until then, folks, thanks very much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe if you've found this video really useful. And another thing to make note of, actually, is that these videos are actually making their way over to the PreSonus Community University area of the forum. So go and check out all of the videos there. This series is going to be there, plus a whole bunch of other videos that I've done using Studio One. They are all over there on the PreSonus forum as well. So go check out that, and you'll find that there's just a whole plethora of other videos by some of my friends and colleagues who are also fantastic tutorial video creators in their own right. And it's a delight to be working with them to help build this community university in the PreSonus forum. So go check that out at presonus.forums.com, I think it is, or is it the way around? It might be. I think it's forums.presonus.com. So go check that out, and you'll see these videos there as well. So until next time, bye for now.